Cornel West is noted as saying discrimination cannot be theorized, it must be felt. With that said, let's talk about defunding the police. For those of you who know me and know some of the things I've done, for me to talk about defund the police and that movement seems somewhat counterintuitive. Jason, why would you want to defund the police? Don't they pay you to teach defensive tactics to them? Jason, why would you want to defund the police? You have friends who are police officers. Jason, why would you want to defund the police? That's literally snatching food out of your children's mouths. Jason, why would you want to defund the police? Surely you don't have any negative experiences with them. Surely you understand where they're coming from. Certainly, the police as a paramilitary organization makes sense to you. Well, let's talk about that. Yesterday, I was at an event in which we were protesting the existence of a Confederate monument outside of the Williamson County Courthouse. While I was at that event, a woman came by and wanted to talk to us and discuss what our plans were with the statue. And in that conversation, she said, well, your sign says just take it down. If you guys want to move it to a museum, I understand that. But your sign just says take it down. To which I had to explain to her that a normal piece of poster board is only 3 by 5 feet. And to write, instead of take it down, reallocate this particular monument to a place that is much more suitable in order for people to take full understanding of the Civil War, its events, its effect on culture, yada, 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 takes a lot more space than is allowed on a poster board. She didn't seem to understand. So when we talk about hashtag defund the police, let's talk about what that really means. I'm not expecting, nor do I propose, that we take all of the money from police departments. But then again, neither does anyone who wants to hashtag defund the police. If you actually look into that movement and what it's about reallocating funding appropriately for the things that are necessary in order for an environment, a culture, a city, a town, whatever, to do what it is that they need to do. Moreover, using the police as some type of panacea to cure all the problems that may happen in a community is an incredibly dumb idea. Not only does it not work, and we have the proof of that, but it puts more on the police than they can do and doesn't utilize the services that you need for the people who they're supposed to be protecting and serving. Protect and serve is the motto of most police departments. Yet, in the process of doing this, they have killed all of the unarmed black men who you are seeing on your screen. Well, black men and women. That's right. As it scrolls by, every single one of these individuals was unarmed and died in police custody. The vast majority of which died before they ever even got to a jail. I wonder why that might be. Hold that thought. A bank robbery in 1981 in North Hollywood is what started the craze for police to have SWAT, Special Weapons and Tactics teams. At that bank robbery, there were individuals who were dressed in body armor, had automatic weapons, and they robbed a bank without the police being able to do anything effectual to them. They had on body armor. The police weapons were underpowered to take down a person with body armor. While both suspects were inevitably neutralized, in the process, they hurt several police officers, wounding over 7 of them. This event tied into the Reagan-era war on drugs. Through this, the 1033 program was started. And that program enabled police principalities and districts to buy used military equipment. It partnered up police with the military in order to do training, in order to utilize weapons, in order to utilize tactics and equipment. By doing so, the police officers began to look a lot like military officers and personnel. When you see this particular uniform, what do you think? Do you think hatred? Do you think discrimination? Do you think negative thoughts? I do, and I'd probably say that most people do. When you see this uniform, what do you think? Do you think service? Do you think integrity? Do you think honor? Do you think protection? What do you think? Well, more than likely, that varies greatly upon the color of your skin. The reality is that I know plenty of police officers, and as individuals, they are generally good people. However, their culture that follows them in that uniform is entirely different. And I hearken back to all of those names that you previously read. So to me, a police officer's uniform does not necessarily equate all of those positive emotions that some people like to ascribe to that particular piece of equipment and that garb. As a matter of fact, particularly when police officers upgrade their uniform to look something more like what I would wear in combat, that sentiment gets even more negative quickly. So let's bring it all together. 1033 program enables police to utilize military weapons training tactics. The 1981 shooting or bank robbery encourages the war on drugs to look more towards that direction, for policing to change the way that they look at their way that they operate. And we have all of these people that have died as a result. All of these unarmed black and brown men and women who are dead now, although in some cases, number one, they did comply, or number two, if they didn't comply, I would like for someone to justify how that equates execution. Let's bring it together. There's a man by the name of Arthur Reiser, and he studies these kinds of things. As a matter of fact, in his pending dissertation on police and police violence, he has asked and surveyed over 1,000 police officers and asked them three very important questions. The first of which is, do you have any problem with police officers carrying military-style weapons or utilizing military-style uniforms? Over 80% of police officers answered in the negative. They don't have any problem with that. They don't see it as problematic in the slightest. As a matter of fact, they generally think that it's a good thing. The second question of the many questions in this survey, but the second one I want to talk to you about, is Mr. Reiser asked the police officers, do you think that using military-style equipment, tactics, weapons, etc., changes the manner in which police think about themselves? And over 75% of those police said, yes, it does. It makes officers more aggressive and quite possibly more violent. Over 3/4 of people said that. Police officers, mind you. Not people who are civilians dealing with them, but the police officers themselves. The third question was, how do you think this type of equipment and uniforms affects the way that you are interpreted and perceived by the public? And over 80% of police officers said that it probably scares the public. Wait, but over 90% of them were good with it. They're perfectly content with presenting themselves in a fashion that scares the public. Put a pin in that. The Washington Post discovered that since 2015, at least, they went that far back, the FBI has undercounted the number of police shootings and shootings that ended in fatality by police by at least half. And that was by them following other news and reports of police shootings that was not taken up by the FBI. That means that all of the statistics that you and I go by from the FBI on police shootings and the subsequent fatalities are wrong. They're undercounted by at least half. Let me give you another statistic for you. Black people by police are killed at about 31 people per million, as opposed to the rate of 13 per million for white people. Well, surely that's because we commit more crimes, right? Yeah, unfortunately, the crime data is only relevant to poverty rates. So it's not that black people commit more crimes. Actually, we commit crimes based upon the amount that are in poverty. Now, there are per capita more black people in poverty, but if you want to talk about the number of individuals that commit more crimes, it's about even. Now let's talk about that underreported number of police officer killings. About half of police officer shooting fatalities are black people, yet they only make up 13% of the population. That's a hard number to swallow, especially from a group of officers whose mantra is to protect and serve. Who are they protecting and who are they serving? Not people that look like me. No, sir. Here's how we stop it. We stop paying for police officers to get the weapons, the tactics, and the training that is like the military. The defensive tactics that I teach to police officers is very much in line with service. I am proud of the work that I do with police officers because I know that that training can make a difference. If for no other reason, it can save the officers' lives, but also save the life of the suspect, particularly when that suspect is still just a suspect. In less than 30 minutes, I was able to Google almost 100 names of unarmed black people that have been killed by police officers. That's disgusting. And anyone who thinks that that's okay or just a product of anything other than a culture and an accepted state of affairs that should be unacceptable is wrong. You're dead wrong. And the death of those individuals should be just as much on your hands as the people who pulled the trigger. What we allow as a culture is indicative of who we are and what our values are. And if our values are okay with the systemic execution of individuals before a trial, before even oftentimes being charged with a crime, then something is wrong with us. Defund the police will never be able to say in a hashtag that we should reallocate funding in order to better align our value system with the values that we want police to have in order to make sure that they are protecting and serving us, as opposed to systematically executing people that they may feel are bad on any given day. That does not make a good hashtag. I hate to break it to you people. But listen, if you learn what it really means, then you too will be behind the defund the police movement. I am, and I have police officer friends. If you are not, then that says something about you. It does not say something about the people who believe in that as a way to keep people like me alive. But wherever you sit on the issue, remember that as a good Christian man and as a person who's trying to be a better person every day with a lot of mistakes, I still love you all. Please like, share, and subscribe to my YouTube channel. I hope to bring you videos on at least a weekly basis as we go through several changes in our society, in our culture, in our country. Hopefully my videos will give you a unique perspective and possibly some catharsis. Remember, I love you all.